You are listening to the very first episode of the Magnetic Presence Podcast. That is the show for speakers, for performers, coaches, creators, business owners, and entrepreneurs who want to become more magnetic on stage, on screen, and in real life so that you can turn audiences into more opportunities and more income. I'm your host, Joey Freddie Larson, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about the presence gap. And we're going to discuss why your talent, knowledge, and expertise is not enough anymore. We're going to talk about why some people with less skill often get bigger opportunities. And we're going to talk about why audiences decide faster than most people realize, and why, as AI makes content more common and commoditized, your magnetic human presence becomes your real advantage. So let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. Again, this is the first episode. I'm actually recording this here in Sedona, Arizona. I'm here for the entire month, and there is just something about this place, huh? If you've been there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You got the red rocks, you got the scale of the landscape, the mountains on all sides. You have the vortexes or vortices, I think is the plural. And then there's the silence and the stillness. It's just a way that nature really makes your problems feel way smaller and your truth feel louder. When I'm in Sedona, I feel more powerful. Something about this place, it just strips all that noise away. And so many people are living inside too much noise, too much chatter, too much distractions. We got notifications and dings and deadlines and pressure and comparison and fears and doubts and worries and just constant impact or constant input. There's just this endless demand to perform. And when you live in that much noise, it becomes really easy to forget who you are. It becomes easy to make performance instead of presence, or to mistake performance instead of presence. It becomes really easy to chase all the tactics and strategies while neglecting your actual truth. It becomes easy to work harder and grind and hustle, all the while you're becoming less felt. And that's happening everywhere right now, because we're living right now through one of the biggest shifts in modern business, media, and communication. Every day, the world is flooded with content. You know what I'm talking about. More posts, more videos, more ads, more podcasts, more emails, more opinions, more noise. It's unbelievable. And now AI has accelerated all of that. AI can write your content, write your copy, write your slides, generate ideas. It can create your funnels. It can draft your launches. It can summarize entire books. It can build polished assets in minutes. And soon, that level of leverage, it's going to be normal and standardized where everyone has that. And right now, a lot of people are looking at that and starting to maybe panic a little bit. How do I compete? How do I keep up? How do I stand out? You know, those are all great questions, but those are all surface level questions. The deeper question is, when AI becomes common, what becomes rare? And you see, that is the opportunity um, where that is the real opportunity. When everyone's zigging, who's zigging the other way or zagging? And that's the thesis behind this entire show. Here it is. As AI makes content common and commoditized, magnetic human presence becomes your real advantage. Again, let me say that again. When everyone has access to AI, when AI is baked into every tool, every software, when AI is everywhere in society, your magnetic human presence becomes the only differentiator. Sure, right now, AI is a huge advantage for some people. If you're first adopters to any technology, you do have an advantage right now. But eventually, the tide's going to rise. Everyone's going to have access to it. And then what are you left with? You're left with who you are as a human. How do people feel you? How do you show up in rooms? What does your actual presence do? You see, again, it's not going to be AI that's the differentiator. It's the people who use AI and combine it with a powerful magnetic presence that makes people feel something, makes people trust them, and helps people move into action. See, not more noise, not more generic content, not another just copycat strategy, cut and paste out of an AI LLM. It's going to be your presence, who you are as a human. At the end of the day, that's who we all are. How you show up, how you carry yourself, how you communicate your beliefs, how you create trust in other humans, how you hold attention. Do people pay attention to you? Do they notice you? Do they hold attention, or do they see you and then they scroll away at their phones, or they yawn and start thinking about what they want to have for lunch? You see, it's all about how you make people feel, how powerful your human presence actually lands. That is becoming the edge now. And that's exactly why this podcast matters. I'm going to take a sip. We can snip that in the edit. So, who is this podcast for? The Magnetic Presence Podcast is for people whose results depend on human connection. On human connection. So, if your income depends on trust, this show is for you. If your career depends on being chosen, people need to choose to work with you, this show is for you. If your mission depends on people actually believing you and feeling you and deciding that they want to move with you and take action with you, this show is for you. If you're a speaker that's trying to command rooms, this show is for you. If you're a performer who wants to become unforgettable on stage and screen, this show is for you. This reminds me of Jeff Foxworthy. You might bear redneck if this show is for you. If you're a coach, if you're a consultant, you're an expert, anyone who wants to turn your attention, either in real life or online, into more clients, more bookings, more sales and revenue, this podcast is for you. If you're a creator who's building an audience online, the show is for you. If you're any kind of entrepreneur, founder, business owner, where your job is to rally people around your vision, the show is for you. If you're in sales and your presence affects conversion rates, this show is for you. If you're a leader and people need to feel certainty, they need to trust you and believe in you and want to follow you, this show is for you. And if you know that you have value, but it's just not translating when it matters the most. You have the knowledge, you have the skills, you have the expertise, you have a track record of helping people, but it's just not translating. You know you're meant for more. You know you could be getting stronger results. And if you're tired of being overlooked, often, well, less capable, less experienced, less knowledgeable people, they advance beyond you and they're getting better results than you, then that is exactly why this podcast exists. This is not for people who are just looking for shallow hacks. If you're looking for the latest TikTok hack or the latest Instagram hack, the latest strategy, the latest software tip, the latest tool, the latest quick fix, that is not what this show is all about. This show is for people who are ready to become real, truthful, authentic, more effective, and more powerful in moments where it counts. So, who am I? A little about me. I spent the last 17 years as an actor in TV, film, and theater. Then the last 10 years, I've coached other actors on how to stand out in their auditions and how to book more lead roles. And I've been doing that through an online membership. Long before all of those things, almost in a former life, for 10 years, I was a sales manager in a financial services company where I was hiring and recruiting and training a sales team. I was also sitting down with clients face to face with them in their households, explaining their financial opportunities and explaining programs to protect themselves and their families. I've done a ton of stand-up comedy. So again, I'm an actor, I'm a comedian, I'm a coach, I'm a speaker, founder of a community that helps performers and creators grow. I've spent years in audition rooms where one moment and one opportunity can completely change someone's life. I've been in comedy clubs where an entire audience can reject you in seconds or can erupt in laughter and love you forever if you know how to hold that presence and how to command that room. I've been on stages where energy matters way more than your slides. I've been on coaching calls where just one tiny little insight can change someone's life, business, future, relationships. I've been on camera environments where your truth reads instantly, and also where faking it or pretending gets exposed. I've lived in rooms where presence matters. Most of my life, I've been in rooms or been on stages, and I've seen both sides of the conversation. I've seen talented experts, knowledgeable people who are incredible just shrink and disappear. I've seen brilliant people fail to translate what they actually had inside them. I've seen experts with life-changing value just completely be invisible. And I've seen people transform once they learn how to truly show up. Seen people book more, sell more, become more trusted, get invited back and repeat bookings. I've seen people who stopped forcing, stopped trying to be, and started landing. And this has become an obsession for me. I'm not talking about fake confidence. I'm not talking about being someone who you're not. I'm not talking about surface level charisma. I'm not talking about performing for approval, convincing, needing. I'm talking about the real mechanics of human magnetic presence. Think about it. And you know this to be true. Think about people in your lives that you would define as magnetic. Why is it that some people can walk into a room and immediately change the molecules in that room? They can immediately shift the energy in that room. All eyes look to them, and all of a sudden they're the life of the party. And why is it that when some people speak, everybody leans in and on the edge of their seats, and other people speak and everyone's on their phones, scrolling, yawning, thinking about, oh my God, when is this thing going to be over? Thinking about what they're going to have for lunch. Why is it that one person with average tactics, strategy, skills, knowledge, expertise can completely outperform someone with superior knowledge? And what are people actually responding to? See, that pursuit became my work. And now it's this Magnetic Presence podcast. I'll take you back to a story recently where everything shifted for me. I was speaking at an event. I was fortunate enough to be on stage at Business by Design Live, James Wedmore's signature event, an annual event in Phoenix, Arizona. And I qualified to be one of 9 Breakthrough of the Year finalists to get on stage and tell my story of my breakthrough year. And it was an incredible moment. The crowd was 1,000 business owners from all over the world in every niche. I'm talking course creators, coaches, membership owners, um, just online experts, 6, 7, 8 figures, and people who are just getting started. And that was an electric event for me, and it ended in a standing ovation. And for multiple days after that, in the hallways of the conference center, in the elevator, in the line for coffee, so many people came up to me and they talked to me and they said to me that my talk moved them, it changed them, it made them feel something. And most importantly, it made them believe in themselves, and it made them believe that what I've been able to accomplish is something that they could accomplish too. And for many of them, dozens in fact, it gave them the courage and belief to invest tens of thousands of dollars in themselves and into their business, where before my talk they told me that they would have never done that and they would have doubted that. And I tell you this to just make it clear that it was not my words. It wasn't my slides. In fact, I didn't even have a slide deck. It wasn't my strategy. It wasn't, oh my goodness, he had the perfect strategy. It wasn't my secret tips or my secret hacks. It was none of those things. What was it? It was my energy. It was my presence. It was my magnetism. It was how I made them feel and how I moved them into action. And that is the impetus, that one event. While I was on stage, it felt like I was in a movie, but while I was on stage, there was whispers in my head saying, oh, this is what you're meant for. Be on stage, either in real life or virtual stages like this, and show people what is possible to them. Show people who they can become, how they can move people. And again, it wasn't my words, wasn't my message, wasn't my slides. There was none of that. It was how I made people feel. And so I want to talk a little bit about this presence gap. You see, I've watched rooms, especially comedy clubs, where the most talented, the funniest people, they should have won. They should have crushed. I've seen a really funny comedian just kind of get a mild, tepid response. And then I've seen someone with way weaker material. They walk up fully committed, fully alive, fully connected, and fucking crush. I guess I can swear. It's my own podcast. As I was starting to let that F word out, I was like, am I going to swear on this podcast? Yeah, I guess we are. So then, and it's the same room, but it's a completely different result. Why is that? It comes down to presence, who you are as a human, how people feel in your presence. I've seen actors obsess over their technique, over their rehearsal, and then they walk into the room and they're tight and they're needy. Oh, please, please. Oh, I would love to be in your thing. Please cast me. Oh, do you want me to sit down? Do you want me to stand up? Do you want me to use this hand or this hand? Needy, 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 self-conscious. And then I've seen another actor walk in. They're loose. They're playful. They're grounded. They're available. And boom, they book the role. Why? Presence, 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 presence. I've seen business owners with incredible offers who speak about them with kinda, sorta, maybe, would you like to, if, ands, buts, apologetic energy. And then I've seen people with way simpler, maybe even less effective offers sell like hotcakes. Why? Because the person delivering them believed in what the fuck they were saying. Why? Presence, magnetic presence. And you see, that is where smart people, they get trapped. They get in their head. You got to get out of your head, get into your body. People assume that more information, more credentials, more certification, more knowledge is the answer. Nobody gives a shit about that. I shouldn't say nobody. Sometimes it is. But often you don't have an information problem. You have a transmission problem. What are you sending? What are people receiving? And that presence gap is the difference and the distance between who you really are, your real capability, your real skills, your real knowledge, your real expertise, your real ability to transform people's lives and other people's experience of you. And all the knowledge, all the experience, all the expertise in the world does not matter if people's experience of you is not felt. It's a gap between what you know and how you land in people's hearts, minds, bodies, souls, your actual talent versus your visible impact. And it's who you are privately versus who shows up publicly, especially under pressure. And that presence gap is expensive. It's costing you thousands, if not millions of dollars. And it can cost you years of your life. So let's talk about how people really decide. Humans, we're incredible things. We're incredible beings. We're actually transmitting signals, a magnetic signal, energy, frequency, signals of certainty, signals of fear, signals of calm, signals of congruence, of warmth, of authority, of emotional safety. People often feel something before they can even explain it. Before you even open your mouth, the second you appear on screen or the second you appear on stage, everything about your energy, your magnetism, your aura, your frequency is felt. And people can't even explain it. And you know what I'm talking about. You're just like, there's something about them. Ooh, I just felt something. They just walk out and the energy shifts already. And that applies to audiences, that applies to your clients, that applies to casting directors, to employers, to investors, to teams, to viewers, to any room in real life or online. And you might call it intuition. Some people call it perception. Some people just call it energy. The label that you put on it matters less than the reality. The reality is people respond to what they feel from you first, not the words, not your slides. You heard the term or the phrase 80% of communication is nonverbal. It's probably more than that. It's probably like 95%. 5% the words, what you're saying, and 95% the signals your nervous system is sending out to people, even if they don't realize that they're receiving it. So presence is not fluff. People respond to what they feel from you. It's perception and motion. That's why two people with equal skill, they can get radically different outcomes. In fact, I give you the exact same slides, the exact same words. One person goes on stage, crushes it, standing ovation. Another person goes on stage, completely collapses. Nobody's paying attention and people are yawning. They're like, what the fuck is going on here? Same words, different feeling, all based on their magnetic presence. So I want to just jump in here real quick. If this episode's already resonating with you, I want you to subscribe, whatever podcast platform you're listening to, hit that subscribe button. And if you know that someone else who has real talent, skills, knowledge, expertise, but is just not getting the results that match it, I want you to send this to them. You see, a lot of gifted people are trapped inside this presence gap. And that's my mission, is to help people who have something inside them, skills, knowledge, people who can change the world, but they shrink in moments that matter most. So their expertise is not getting out there. They're not changing lives because people don't care about what's in your brain or just the words. They need to feel it. It needs to connect. Ding. See, a lot of people are gifted and I want to help you do that. So hit the subscribe button, send this episode to someone who you know it's going to help. So I want to talk about the AI shift. I want to talk directly about AI because everybody is talking about it. You're probably sick of AI already, but it's here to stay. It's here forever. So let's talk about it. First of all, I use AI. I use it every day in my business. And I think you should use it too. You should be using it to do things faster. You should be doing things that you're automating with AI. So this is not an anti-AI or an anti-technology rant. This is pro-reality and pro-human, though. Where you don't want to use AI, you don't want to just hand over who you are as a human, your own human creativity, your own human presence to AI. You want to use it to supplement, to augment, to enhance who you are as a human being. See, these AI tools matters. The leverage that AI is giving us, you can do the work of 10 people with the right AI tools. Efficiency does matter. But the tools are just tools. And think about this. Once everybody had a calculator, calculators wasn't the difference maker. Once everyone had the internet, information wasn't the difference maker. Everyone had access to it. And once everyone has AI, when AI is baked into everything in society, when it's just a layer of every tool, when everything's got AI, when everyone has access to it, is it going to be the difference maker? It's just going to be a given. Everybody has access to all of the world's information and the processing speed to do a million calculations in a second. So where does the difference happen? What becomes the difference maker? What's going to happen is it's going to come back to who you are as a human. Who do we trust? Who do we look for their judgment, for their taste, for their leadership? Who do we look for their emotional intelligence, for their discernment? Who do we look for embodied communication, for human presence? Again, think about your own life right now. Have you ever chosen someone just because they made you feel understood? Like, oh man, she really gets me. He really gets me. Have you ever just followed someone because they felt like a real human being? They didn't feel like a robot. And you're like, ah, something about them. They're flawed. They're kind of fucked up, but you're like, oh man, I get them. I feel like they're authentically that human being. And have you ever bought something from someone just because they felt trustworthy? Maybe what they're saying, what they're selling wasn't even that great, but you just like them. Like, I like you. You seem to understand me. I trust you. And have you ever stayed loyal with someone? Maybe you keep following someone online just because they consistently showed up like a real human being? Exactly. So that value, that human presence, that is what's rising right now. It is not falling. As AI proliferates content and content becomes commoditized, what becomes rare is who you are as a human being and your ability to make people feel something. When everyone's zigging, are you going to zig the other way? AKA zag. That's exactly what this podcast is about. While everyone's racing to adopt AI, I just want you to get ahead of the game and realize eventually AI is going to be everywhere. So what are you left with? Your human magnetic presence, how you show up, how you make people feel. And the future does not belong to someone who is the most automated or the most AI'd. The future is going to belong to people who use those tools well while staying connected to who the F they are as a human being. So that people will be like, I don't know, a lot of people online, I don't know if this is real or AI, but I know that person's real. Or I walk into a room, I can touch you, feel you. I know they're a real human being. So remember, as AI makes content common, what becomes rare is your ability to move people and make people feel with your magnetic human presence. That will be the only real advantage left once everybody's got AI. So I want to run you through a little self-diagnosis here. And this is going to challenge you a little bit. I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you can rate yourself 1 as low or non-existent, 0, all the way up to 10, super high. Where are you relying on being smart instead of being felt? Where are you technically strong, but your message just doesn't land? Where does pressure make you feel stronger or make you feel smaller? Where do you shrink under pressure? Where are you hiding behind preparation, hiding behind slides, behind copy, behind messaging? Where are you hiding behind the illusion of perfection, polishing your content while neglecting how you're actually delivering that? Who cares if you got the perfect speech if you're not actually delivering it and helping it and making it land and people feeling you? You could have MLK's I Have a Dream speech, but if you deliver that and people are like, this guy's full of shit, he doesn't believe in himself, he's full of doubts and worries, he's shrinking, well, that speech is not going to land. Where are you asking people to trust your message while your body betrays your communication and your body transmits doubt? Where are you trying to be impressive instead of just being you and being impactful? And where are you less than your true authentic self when it matters the most? Don't answer those conceptually, just answer those honestly. And some of this awareness, maybe it stings a little bit, but let me tell you this, avoiding those questions and avoiding those truths is costing you tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions, billions of dollars. So I want to give you a practical tool here. And this is something that you can use immediately. I call it the presence audit or a magnetic presence audit. Here's what you want to do. Before any meaningful moment, Just pause. Just pause. A powerful pause for 60 seconds. This might be before a webinar, before a sales call, before an audition, before a meeting, before recording any content online, before stepping on stage, before going live, before walking into the restaurant to go on that date, before having a conversation with your spouse or your kids. And again, rate yourself from 1 to 10 in these categories. Your energy. Is your energy low? Or is it alive and vibrant? Rate your breath. Is it shallow and quick or deep and slow? Rate yourself 1 to 10 on certainty. Are you fully convicted with what you're about to say? So convicted that it's like you're describing gravity. Nobody is doubtful about gravity. If I ask you, what happens when things go up? What's your answer? They come down. Is the sun going to come up tomorrow? Yeah. So where can you find certainty like gravity? Rate yourself in connection. Do you feel connected to yourself, to source, to God, universe? Do you feel connected to other human beings? Rate yourself on pace. Are you talking really fast? Are you talking you're rambling and you just got to get the words out because you don't know if they're going to listen, and what if they don't want to, they want to stay to the end? Or do you slow down, be a little more impactful, take your time, and trust that your message is going to land? Rate your body tension. Are you all tense? Are you holding tension in your shoulders, in your eyebrows, in your face, in your jaw, in your belly, in your butt, in your legs? Or are you fully relaxed? And rate yourself on intention. 10 being you have a clear intention. You have clear idea of exactly what you're there to do in that moment. Or you're distracted, you're thinking about your groceries, you're thinking about the shit that happened yesterday, you're worrying about stuff in the future, and you're just randomly walking into this room and whatever happens, happens. And then ask yourself after that little 60-second audit, what needs to shift before I enter this room? What needs to shift before I begin? And maybe that's just one slow breath. Tiny tip here is just breathe. Find stillness, find silence, and just breathe. Maybe you need to relax your jaw. Yeah? Maybe you just need to drop your shoulders, holding them up here all day long, all tense, tense, tense. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to remember who the fuck you are. And maybe you need to remember who you're there to serve. Maybe you need to stop trying to impress. You need to stop trying to be and just be. And maybe you need to decide that this room that I'm about to enter, they are going to feel me today. Never mind your words. What do you want people to feel? See, that 1 minute, that can change the next hour of your life. And that next hour can change the rest of your life, especially if it's a high stakes moment. A lot of people are just preparing their content. They're memorizing their words. They're frantically looking at slides, frantically looking at their speech, and they're not thinking about what they want people to feel. And they're not thinking about how they feel. They're not regulating their own state, their own nervous system. Because if your nervous system is not regulated, it doesn't matter what you're about to say. People will feel your nervous system. And it is, if it's out of whack, people will notice it, and they're just going to feel off about you. So remember, very, very few people prepare their state. So take 60 seconds for that magnetic presence audit before everything you do, if it's a high impact moment, and see those results change. So here's the core belief of this entire podcast. If you're not getting it, I'm going to drill it into you by the end of this podcast. This is what I want you to remember from today. Magnetic presence is not something that you need to become. It's something that you need to return to. See, I believe every human being was born with it. You were born with it. You were born with magnetic presence. Think about a baby. Watch a baby enter a room. I'm picturing a baby walking into a room, which is hilarious, but look at a baby. Is a baby ever wondering if they're enough? A baby doesn't rehearse being lovable. A baby doesn't second guess their worth. A baby is fully present, always fully expressed. They're not deciding, oh, am I going to cry? Oh, maybe that's a little too much. Am I going to scream? Am I going to laugh? Oh, I don't know. Maybe I'm being too loud. No, they're fully expressed. They're curious. They're fascinated. They're alive. They're unfiltered. And because of that, they're magnetic. People feel babies instantly. Look at a baby. It's magnetic. And I think part of the reason is babies were just recently with source, with God, with the universe. It just came into the world. So they're as pure as there's ever been. A baby is just pure magnetic energy, vibration, frequency. There's no blocks. There's no societal norms that have been put on them. They don't have the fears and doubts, aside from, I think, is the fear of heights and the fear of loud noises. The only thing that we come into this world being fearful of. Everything else is learned fear, learned doubts, learned worries, all this things that constrict us and block us. But at our purest level, we're magnetic. You're magnetic. And then again, life happens. Conditioning, rejection, fear, comparison, shame, pressure to fit in, pressure to be liked, pressure to be appropriate. So what do? We adapt, we build mass, we become more guarded, more calculated, more self-conscious, more disconnected from our natural signals. Magnetism does not disappear. It gets covered. It gets blocked. And it gets buried. It gets buried under patterns of protection. And that's all well and good, where our nervous system, our subconscious is doing its best to keep us alive. Because back in the day, if your tribe rejected you and you ended up out in the wilderness alone, you probably did die or you got killed by a neighboring tribe. But not today. So this is not about becoming someone else. This is not about how to manufacture fake charisma. The work is to remove what is in the way. Strip the masks, dissolve those blocks, release the fear, and remember who the fuck you are before you learned to perform for approval. And then take that return to who you are with real skills. In this podcast and in all my programs, we help you install a skill set. We help you practice tangible, actionable skills, because your authentic truth is what matters. And the skills matter too. You can learn to regulate your nervous system. You can learn to use your voice with power. You can learn magnetic eye contact. You can learn storytelling. You can learn authority. You can learn how to build trust. You can learn how to lead rooms. You can learn presence under pressure. You see, that's the combination. Return to who you are and then add an unshakable skill set. Return to your authentic self and then build the skills that express that self powerfully. That is where your true magnetic human presence lives. Again, it's not about becoming someone else. It's not about faking it. It's not about putting it on. It's not about becoming a performer or acting or any of that stuff. It's about becoming more fully you. And when that happens, let me tell you, Every room you step in, I get emotional about this stuff because I know it's true. Every room you step in will respond differently. People are going to trust you faster. Your actual talent, skills, expertise is going to become visible to the entire world. And your message will land deeper in people's hearts, in their minds, in their souls. They will connect with you and they're going to think, oh my God, I got to be around this person. I got to be in their presence, their magnetic presence. And your magnetic presence is going to inspire their magnetic presence. You will move people into action and your presence will become undeniable. That is the theme of this podcast. So I want to let you know every future episode, this is just the first episode. Hopefully you're enjoying this right now and this is landing with you because that's why I'm here. I want it to land with you. But every future episode of this podcast is going to live inside one or more of the following themes. We're going to talk about magnetic presence. We're going to talk about how to communicate in a way that moves people. We're going to talk about performance under pressure. When the stakes are the highest, when the moment matters, how do you show up? We're going to talk about how to regulate and master your own nervous system. So for a lot of people, that's it. Your nervous system is just out of whack, and you just need to realize that you're in charge of your nervous system. We're going to talk about your human advantage in an AI era when everyone is leaning into AI, how to return to who you are as a human being. I love AI. I love AI tools, but I got to tell you, I don't love them more than humans. I'm so fucking pro-human. It's insane. We're going to talk about authority and trust. We're going to talk about identity and how to express it. We're going to talk about business through presence. We're going to talk about being masterful on stage, on screen, on camera. We're going to talk about how to become unignorable, unforgettable, and undeniable. Some of these episodes are going to be very tactical. Some of them are going to be deep conversations. And I'll tell you, a lot of these episodes, they're going to challenge your assumptions. And most of these episodes are also going to give you tools that you can then implement and use immediately in your own life, wherever you're showing up, so that you can turn your live situations in real life and online into more opportunities, more bookings, more clients, more income, more revenue, more life, more opportunities. And all of these episodes, this is my promise to you. This is the first episode, so I want to make it clear why I'm doing this. All of these episodes are going to be built to strengthen the part of you that is your true, authentic self, so that people choose to work with you, to be around you, to buy your stuff, to join your programs, to join your movements, to see your vision, to join your mission. Now, if you want to go deeper, and if you're like, Joey, I'm in, let's do this. How do I work with you? I want you to go to joeyfreddylarson.com and you can check out Magnetic Performance Mastery. That is my program for experts, coaches, creators, performers, speakers, entrepreneurs, and business owners, people who want to become more magnetic in the moments that drive your income, your bookings, your trust, your opportunity in real life, online, no matter where those opportunities are. You're going to find those details also in the show notes. You can join the priority list. If you go to joeyfreddylarson.com/founder, you can become one of my founding members. I've just opened this program in the last few months. And when we open up spots, when you get on that list, you'll be the first to be notified when I do have a spot open where we go way deeper in all this. And I help you actually return to who the fuck you are as a magnetic, present human being. And I help you install the skills to get there. You're going to find all those details in the show notes. And remember too, if this episode helped you, share it out with a friend, leave a review. I want to make sure that this message gets out to everyone who needs it, to the right people all over the world. I just want to share this like wildfire everywhere. So my final outro here, my final message is remember the 5th of November. No, remember, great movie, by the way. Remember, as AI makes content more common and commoditized. What is rare? Your magnetic human presence. And that will become your real human advantage. All right. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.